And we're back. And this will probably be one of the best videos you guys will ever hear, see, witness, and all. And the theme is never underestimate yourself, never undervalue yourself, never do any of those things. And I'm going to talk about it from a standpoint that I really want you to understand. And Yarna will be such a part of this. Yesterday, I was guided, as I sometimes am, to put together something, a message for today. And the title of it is It Is Never Too Late Still. And what that means is for all of us that we're always in this place of becoming something long as we're alive. And when I put that together, I wasn't aware of how I was being guided, but what I did was I went back every July 17th, because also I do know that there's some energetic movement happening. So I always get moved to do something when that is going on. Um, and so I put those together, and then it leads you to, and I want everyone to hear this and listen to it, because it leads you, when you read the messages, you'll see that your brain changes. We are all consciousness. And I put up so many videos this past week, which again, I didn't know that I was leading to here. But I wanted people to understand that when we come into physical form, when we're on this earth, we have consciousness to guide ourselves. But that consciousness has also been programmed, and it's been injected with so many other things that don't necessarily serve us or the world. And then there are times where we move through generational changes, which were happening now. And then there's certain people like me who were meant to bring in work that could help so many others. And that's what I've done. And if you read the messages, you'll understand that. But the other thing that I did is that I didn't value it enough. And I never want anyone to do that. Because when you understand that your life has value, you become abundant, you have everything that you want, and it's a process. All I did was create a way to move through this process, just like Carl Jung did. And when you listen to the video, you'll see that it's talked about there, because I wrote an article about it where I said I might be channeling Carl Jung, even though I'd never studied him. And that's talked about as well. And then also it talks about the healing that I have experienced that I didn't talk about as much. And I'm going to give all of that. So what I'm saying is that when you don't understand who you are, that's when your life goes a little crazy. And that's what I've done for a little bit now. But it was a little different because I needed to demonstrate what is possible. That's what my life was supposed to be about. I just want everyone to see this, because I want you to go to Any Advice for Today. You will see the message, and it's like a little ebook. You might think of it, but I just want you to see it now, and then to listen to the Still Never Too Late Still. Perspective is one of the most valuable gifts you will receive as you move through your physical life experience. And what that means is how we choose to see things. And so you'll see that it goes through every single year, just back to 2012. I've been doing it for a lot longer, but this will give you an idea of how we understand things in our lives, and also in collective consciousness as well. And that's the work that I've done. And then what happens as a result of when you go to the end of it, by the way, you will see that, you will see that there's a video of a session that we did, and Yarna opens up this wonderful meditation. Now, the session was called on that day, Your Life is More Meaningful Now. And that is for every single person. But we don't understand it until we look back and kind of appreciate who we are, what we've accomplished, and what we've done. Now, I've done a whole lot, still didn't put it together. And this is the thing that I want everyone to come to understand now, because it's important. Um, when I'm going to Gaia in October and doing a channeling session, I'm talking about planetary ascension, because that is what we're moving through that at this time in our world. It's not accidental, and everything that's happening, and all the messages, all the videos that I put out this week, you will see this. And so the thing that I got to say now is that I had to acknowledge that I had developed something that could give any single person the ability to live this great life, where they could transform who they are, where they could heal, where they could have the kind of career where they
A
could
blueprint.
Yes, a blueprint. And to look at that and the way that but I didn't appreciate it enough. And the reason I'm saying that, because I have to be completely transparent, is that I stopped myself because it was so shocking what I had done. It was surprising what I had healed. And so we can't talk about possibilities if I'm not willing to own it. That comes through in that session too. When you look, it was shocking to me. And I posted this on social media yesterday because I said it was shocking for me to listen to that. Because when I'm in that state, I can answer anybody's question. I can do any of that, but I don't hear it. And so I have to come back and integrate it just like everyone else. So I just want everyone to appreciate that.
What has changed? Like, I have a question to you for the listeners as well to know about it. You already told me, but like, how has your walking changed?
I where I could it was really challenging for me to walk any kind of distance. Now I can and do that with no problem. I mean, a couple miles here and there, and that's just didn't make sense. But I also knew it was alignment. I've healed so many things that people think are impossible, and I know I want others to know it is not. And
Mm,
that comes into that's in this talked about in the session as well, because I,
awesome.
because it says that I knew that there were certain things I wasn't going to correct, and other people will have that. It depends on your evolutionary path. But there's so many
Mhm.
things that I have healed that doctors said were impossible. So there are things that we can move over, and we're always developing greater awareness or greater consciousness, so other people will create something more.
And they're happening like those changes. Like Roger had a major foot injury. This is why he couldn't walk long distances, and now he can walk long distances anymore again, right? And like this is like what I see in it is that Roger has changed his perspective in a way that he started acting in a different way. So he started identifying with like his like within greater potential, right? With the greater self of who he is, or the greatest self even. And this then changes something in your behavior, in your
Yes.
walking, like in your like it literally changes your entire physical structure. And we've heard of this many times. And I mean, I haven't had like things like that. I had different things that I've healed, like smaller things. So I don't give any example yet, but you can just follow and keep listening. I will talk about it one day in another video. But it's just like you don't have to know how it happens. You don't have to know when it happens. You just have to move towards um or you move with joy, right? Like create more pleasurable moments in your life. Do the things that light you up, right? And if you do those things and you constantly do the work on yourself and the inner healing, then you see how the outer world reflects something very beautiful back to you. Because when you're in your heart and you're like softly, gently smiling from your heart, and your face follows that gentleness and that happiness, right? Love and happiness come together. Like if you're not happy and you say you love, then you're missing out on something. And it is it truly is about the process behind it, but
Right.
because we are here to experience change in time. We're here to experience transformation in time. And Roger transformed in 73 years. So this is how
And
old he
that's
is, right? And
you
when
said
did you
something.
had the foot in like the surgery that
It
we
was
just talked about?
95, 1995.
95. There you
Yeah.
go. And like this year it changed for him.
Yeah.
This is 2024.
Well,
So,
everything that there have been so many other things as well, and a lot of that's talked about. But you said something else very interesting, and I want everyone to understand this. The only reason that we will struggle or suffer or any difficulty that we experience in our life is when
Mhm.
we don't take the next step on our evolutionary path, because it's always there.
And
And
it's very easy. It's very easy because like you don't have to know what your second next step will be. Like you don't have to know that at all. You just have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what's the best next step that I can take? And this is basically as simple as that. If you every moment that you don't know, you ask yourself these questions, what is the next what is the next best step that I can make or that I can possibly make? And you just do this right away after you ask yourself this, you're go you're elevating and ascending every single day. And this is the one of the easiest way to do those things, right? Ask yourself those type of questions. It's very,
And
very
so
valuable.
yeah, and so I want people to understand, and this is talked about in the video, so I really want people to hear it because a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are going through difficult things that they don't necessarily understand. However, there is some value there when they move through it, when you come to the other side. And that's what I have to keep talking about because I've done that. When people go through, we talk about an ascension journey or going through all of those things. Yes, that can happen in different ways, but when you move through it, you experience yourself completely new. And I will say that the difficulties, again, are when we are not willing to take those steps. And sometimes they're challenging because I hid mine forever because it was different. And that's part of the other problem, too. When we're unique, we're supposed to be unique and different and bring something new to the world. But mine was so different in terms of the way that I was doing this and I've told this story before. For the first 20 years that I was receiving Wilhelm, I wasn't telling people I was doing it because
Mm.
it didn't. It was just the connection that I had that I felt was just me, and that was a similar thing that Carl Jung would do at certain things. But we might all do that in certain ways.
I do this. I've done this as well. Like, I mean, I told you lately that I had a past life regression and I was brought back to the life of Yeshua, and I was in Tibet and learned energy healing in that regression. And I received messages like this since I was a little child,
Mm.
that I'll be doing things as he did. And then later in Australia, it got stronger and stronger and stronger in the last 4 years. Like literally, I had to learn to deal with those thoughts because as a child, I put those thoughts away. Then I kind of ignored them as so much that I couldn't hear it any longer. And they respected my free will as well and didn't talk about that. But like every time someone said like silly things like Jesus Christ or something like that, like especially in Australia with the English people, they just talk like that a lot, or whoever in the English language, like many people just telling those things. And I had to learn to kind of go into the feeling of it because I felt super, super uncomfortable with all of that. And having those thoughts and kind of those intuitive knowings about where you come from and who you are and what you are connected to, can be very, ooh, um, can feel very heavy for the ego because the ego tries to make a story out of it. And then we are again at the place where I said earlier, a few minutes ago, you don't have to understand it. You don't have to know how it happens. You really don't
Um,
have to.
let me
Because, like, if you sense it and you find that inner peace in your knowing and with the steps that you're doing, moving towards your desires, right? Your heart's desires, which is oneness and connection and beauty, then everything will fall into place automatically.
There's another thing. This morning, just before this, someone happened to see one of my videos, and they recognized something and sent me a link saying this may be strike a chord with you. They knew this, and it was a video for Carl Jung that was put up about 7 days ago, and it was talking about synchronicity, exactly what I put
Mm.
up, and what you were just saying that sometimes we don't understand those things, but there is a connection, and there's a connection to all of us to all that is or the universe, and that's what we come to find out. And we do it in different stages. But it's called timeless wisdom or something, and it's a Carl Jung. It just came up, but I think that's the YouTube channel. But I'll maybe put a link in here so people can listen to it. It's a half-hour video, but it'll give you a little greater understanding. It's a really kind of good one, and I thank them for sending it. But this is what
Mm.
we're all coming to understand is that we have greater wisdom.
Carl Jung has also been like a big catalyst for me. Like 3 years ago when I got hit over by the car, I got run over by the car and hit by the car. A woman just gave me his autobiography, and I that was the first English book that I ever read, and it was Carl Gustav Jung's autobiography. And then a month later, someone gave me the Celestine prophecy. Also, like those informations just came to me because I
Mhm.
could do something with it, and especially with I mean, both books are great, but like the autobiography of Carl Jung, I was finally understanding my mind. I was just giving, what means understanding my mind? I understood my mind, but like there was always the knowing and the not knowing. There was the higher self and the ego, and there was like always this battle between them. And and if you're not able to silence your mind, or if you're not able to kind of be aware of what the ego feels like and sounds like from the voice in your head or the frequency, the vibration that you feel, it can be very difficult. But Carl Gustav Jung, like the way that he talks, the way that he explains it,
Mm.
just the work that he did, like deeply, deeply resonated with me. And I mean, he talks about synchronicities. Um, since then, I opened up to synchronicities since I read it, and it completely changed everything because
That's
the magic suddenly appeared,
That's why I
right?
put out that message today. That's because I wanted people to understand that. And if they and listening to I'll put this link in there for the find this Carl Jung because it explains it really, really well. And the thing that I want everyone to understand is that, and I, because this is the thing that I'm giving, and I want people to know, because when I do my huge talk in October, this is what's coming through. The work that I was given was giving everybody the ability to up level to a higher state of consciousness. What happens is there's a collective unconsciousness, which Carl Jung talks about, and so when we move through that within ourselves, then we come to a higher state of understanding, and so does the world. And so this work that I was
Oh,
given
this is
was meant.
deep right now. Like this is deep right now. It just deepened something in me, like something just flicked. I had this understanding before, but now I can understand. I can talk about it with the words that you just used, because if you connect to the unconscious of all of us,
Mhm,
you're able to see why
mhm.
people are the way they are. You can see behind it, not
Yes.
just what they're telling you, not just what they're showing you or whatever, but you can actually see with kind of with your third eye or your sixth sense
Mhm,
or your intuition, you can see exactly also people's intentions,
mhm.
right? What is behind of what they do, say, right? Feel
That's
in this moment. And this is very, very powerful because you learn to understand human dynamics, and you learn
that's
to understand
that's
love,
that
and you
that's
learn to understand manipulation from a
that's what the
deeper.
video. Yes, and you'll hear that. That's what. So this is what I was moving through last night because I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the channeling session and I go, "Oh yes, when I'm in that state, I can answer anybody's question. I know exactly what your blocks are. I know exactly what's going on with you, and I can do that." And I said it the other day. I said, if I could just do it with myself, it would have been different because the one block that I couldn't move over was understanding how valuable this was, and that was really it. And I never want people to do that to themselves because what you discover is whatever you do in your life, if it's something you're creating something or doing something about it, has real worth because no one's done
Mm.
it before.
Yeah, and it can be also that, like, I mean, you do, Roger, you receive information for others, right?
Yes,
Like, first hand for the collective. It's not
it's
something that Roger receives for him to keep. Because you know, like if he go when he goes into those trance states and he channels those informations and he can't remember. So he
and
has to kind of like, I mean, it's also for him a sure thing because he
it
keeps
is.
looking at it. And because he is doing it for so many years, like something in him changed so much that he also in this physical body, when he is not in trance and channeling, has lots of knowledge and wisdom to give, right? But like he receives information for the collective, and you may also receive information for the collective. And many times, like you intuitively have a hunt and like you know something, but
Yeah,
you don't say it to that person. But it was maybe you received it exactly for the reason to just give it to that person, and then you can forget about it and you can move on. Or um you have something at home that you don't need anymore. Maybe some now it's time to give it to someone else, or you gave it you got a gift or like a birthday gift or whatever, but like you couldn't really understand why this is with you. But then you meet a person and you think like, wow, I think this is for that person. So we always receive information or like also in physical um things like crystals, stuff like that. I just received some from Bali and I had a client that I had a treatment with the other day. And I just felt I have to give her the necklace because I got it and I looked at it and I'm like, that's not for me. Right away. It was a beautiful crystal, but I knew right away that it wasn't meant to be with me. And after I had a conversation with this woman, I knew that this was meant for her. And the next day I gave it to her, right? So what you do with the information that you receive is very important and keep it for yourself or give it to others, but this is really up to you.
And you said something else, and I'm going to talk about the ego now because, see, that was always my fear. When I first started receiving Wilhelm, I kept it to myself, as I said. And the very first message, and I'm going to show you this because I want people, they can also go and find this because it's on February 19th. And if they go to the website, they can find it. But it is this, and I want them to see what I did and then also to see the very first message. Um, First of all, accepting this message will change your life in the world. And if anybody reads it all the way through, you will see how that could possibly happen because you will, number one, understand yourself a lot better. And you can understand that if more people understood themselves, we would have a very different world. My very first message is this, and I knew that I didn't want to do anything that I didn't know was going to be was not operating from my ego. And this is it. Yes, it is indeed wise for you to realize how powerful you are and also to acknowledge the innate benevolence of your being. You seem to consistently maintain a subtle fear that somehow you would use your power in an ego-oriented way to the detriment of others. The truth for you is exactly the opposite. For the more you gain, you give away. And they can read the whole thing. And then what it does is it goes through every single year from then it every single year and you can see it. And then what you will find is that if you search for February 19th, you'll find that many things happened in our world, in the universe on that date over time. I had no clue. It's a connection that we all have to the universe. And in that video, Carl Jung talks about that as well. And that's why the synchronicities help us so much. And so I need everyone to this is what we're up to now, is coming to a
Yeah,
higher
and
state.
you and everyone like you go into the experience of synchronicities when you just keep on moving forward and like this in the best way that you can. Like just in alignment with who you are, what you want, what you resonate with. And if you keep taking action um towards fulfillment of self, this will bring you automatically those synchronicities into your life, right? I talked about this in a video before. I met a beautiful sister, friend, like woman, like in Australia in Brisbane. Synchronistically, she was sitting on top of my on the chair where my backpack was underneath on a festival. And we started talking, we instantly connected. I visited her in Sydney. I flew to Bali. Suddenly she appeared in my meditation. I hear that Anna is in Ubud. I was in Ubud. Next day I go to the restaurant. Like I just walked in her insane. Like and was insane and those synchronicities just happen in those scales, like just very um offensichtlich in German, like very it's very clear to see for you, right? But sometimes it's just like small things. Like you think about a car and like a red car, you want to buy a red car and then you see a red car just driving by like a minute later. Or you think about your mom and then your mom calls you right away. Or just earlier I called a friend and he got to the phone like and he said, I felt my phone vibrating and I knew you were you're on it. And those types of things, like if you allow yourself to see that magic, magic is normal. This is the most normal thing that can actually happen. And everything that we think was normal is actually like not as normal as we think it is, because like we kind of created suffering, collective suffering and pain. But we can ex escape that suffering if we choose to kind of change the perspective how we or change how we perceive pain. Because if we learn out of pain, if we kind of see the wisdom out of pain, then we become stronger, and this is how we make light out of darkness, as an example.
Everything you're saying is included in those threads that people can read of those messages, all of that stuff, exactly that. And having lived it, I know that that's actually it. But I want to say to everyone too, um, my goal was always to create something that anyone could use to get to where they're supposed to be in their life. And that's what I've done. And it's accessible for everyone. And I'm just saying that because this is what my commitment is now. Like I said, when I recognized what I had, and hadn't fully appreciated. And I'm saying this because I hadn't finished all the work. Like, there's so much more that that I haven't put in there, and I had to look at that, and it was talked about in that video. So I want people to hear it because what I do is I think that let me just try to get more people. Let me just try to make them come in, and they're not going to do that. People are going to own. You will have to decide that you want to move beyond where you are. And that sometimes for a lot of people, that is so challenging. And then I'm this incredibly empathic person. And I think, oh, I'm just going to hold you until you get there. That doesn't work. And that's a pattern that I had to break. And so I just want people, and you'll hear it in that video as well. But I just want people to know there are no limits, which I put out there to what you can do, create, and achieve. None.
That's right. That's right. And I was reading about it. I just received like some crystals like this one, the bracelet today. And there was one crystal on it and it said it kind of really helped with like there it's all about the throat chakra. It's all about speaking truth. It's all about compassion. It's all about like really being in that energy. And something that you just said reminded me on it. Um I forgot what you said, so I lost the stream of thought, but doesn't matter. So, like you earning or you kind of you owning who you are
Mhm.
will open all doors for yourself. And you do that in a way that you start identifying with the person that you want to be, or that you like your future self, right? You start dressing like your future self. You start talking like your future self. You start you're writing as if you're already that future self. And you you bend this matrix, the reality changes for you accordingly because you started identifying with something new, right? Many people identifying with a pain, or I have a headache, I have um all sorts of sicknesses, illnesses, and they identifying with it rather than kind of just being aware of the feeling of the sensation, bringing it to the center, learning to be with it and to breathe slowly and kind of having an open channel and integrating that knowledge because it's information that tells you something. There is energy not flowing correctly. And the moment you go in and you give it attention and you breathe it up and down your central channel, as an example, right? I just give you very valuable information right now. You heal yourself if you allow yourself to be open and in your heart, like following your inner heart, following the sensation, following that sensation of home. Everywhere you are at is home. So if you don't feel home where you're at, maybe you have to kind of find home in a way that you kind of feel comfortable within yourself, right? The outer world is merely a reflection of what is your beliefs, what your pupils are kind of
And
to show you exactly what. So
And so what you're saying, and I want everybody to understand this, what Yarn is saying is yes, is that's that place you can move to, but everybody's not going to be there. And so you must understand that your journey is going to be a little different. And so if you, and especially at this time, because we're moving through what I call a mass ascension. So people individually are experiencing things that cause them to be afraid or uncertain or any of that. But it's part of the process that we all move through, but we're doing it individually and also collectively. So understanding that, why people might feel a little out of sorts or a little afraid. So all of this is in that message. So, and what Yarno was talking about is reaching this other place which he lives in so much and that I admire. And so, but to know what is possible, that's what I want everybody to understand. And so, my work is about possibility, and that's why I said I started with consciousness because you'll everything is about
Mm,
mindset and
yeah.
raising your consciousness, and that you can achieve anything.
Like Roger said, he's about possibility, I'm about embodiment, right? And if you embody what you believe in, if you really truly embody and believe in every single word that you say, right? Like sometimes it's better to say nothing if you don't believe in what you
Mhm.
say. Then it's great to be in silent and to listen and to kind of feel whatever is current. And it's a beautiful time. And like as what you said, like and we are all like on different stages, right? Consciousness is rising for every one of us, and we are all on different stages of awareness. Like we are more or less aware of certain things within our body as an example, right? Why do I feel that way? What is it telling me? Like, why do I
Yes.
all of those things, we interpret things slightly different
Uh,
because we're all looking at life from different perspectives. I like to say it like we all stand around a tree and we're all standing in a circle around it and we all see a different perspective of the tree and the one over there does see a different shape of the tree than I do. So it's just like one example on how we perceive things differently. And everyone is on their journey. So you're on yours, I'm on mine, Roger's on his journey. And
yes,
like simply follow what feels best for you. And not just in the moment, not just because like a Coke tastes great, like it may be the greatest thing to do as your next best step, but like those lasting feelings, like not just short-term satisfaction, but long-term happiness instead.
there's there's something you said about belief. I'm just going to go there, okay?
Yeah.
Because um, I just want everyone to understand this because you can reach this place. I was watching an interview with Carl Jung, by the way. This was a long time ago, and he was asked a question. He goes, "Do you believe this?" And then he sat and he thought about it for a second. And he said, I used to believe, but now I know.
Mm.
And that's a very different thing. And I can say to everyone else, now I know. I know that
And
people
if you
can,
look at the word belief, it's be lie, believe, believe,
right.
lie, lying.
But
It's
but
weird.
the
It's
part
weird.
the part that I know is what I want people to come what I want to people to leave with is I know that people can achieve the life that they want to have if they just do the work and take the steps into
Exactly.
becoming their authentic self. That I know. And so that after all of these years, I can say that now.
And I didn't know how it unfolds, right? The how is really not up to Yarna.
Mm.
It's the surprise that makes it all so exciting, and I'm very grateful for it as well. And what I imagined is different to what I experience right now. So, like the feeling is the same though, right? And this is what I want to say. Keep going. I have a guest. I just open the door and then I
No, no,
come back
no.
and finish
This is
what we
good.
do.
I think that we've kind of um gotten to the place where um, that I wanted to leave everybody with because I wanted to talk about this information and also that I'm doing a channeling session on Sunday. We'd love for all of you to come to that as well, and you check out all of the work that we are going to be doing and continue to do. But the main thing is, I'd really love for you to read these things, listen to the video. I just want you to know that you're unlimited. You can create, you can achieve what you want. And it's really important for us to do this in our world now because it's an energetic contribution we will all make. So that's pretty much,
Yeah, and you contribute to the happiness of the people around you.
yes.
And you deciding to be happy is helping other people more than you, as an example, deciding to try to help someone or to save someone or whatever, right? It should come from your internal happiness that it's kind of Of course I'm able to help that person. Like you just know it. You don't believe that you can help that person. You just know that you can help that person because you see the collective unconscious as an example. You kind of have experienced certain things. You healed yourself. And the more that you heal whatever you're currently working at or that is current for you, like you will see the life changing. Yeah,
And be
it's a
patient
good
with
time to be
yourself.
alive, my friend. Patience, it was a big
Yeah,
message for me today in the morning.
great.
Definitely patience, big time that I'm learning right now. So thank you, sir.
Thank you
And
so much. And I'll leave the links for everyone and hope they come to the hope you see challenge session. Great. Thank you so
sure
much.
thing.